Monaco for the 5th time in 6 years. An incredible achievement, and I think he's blown his engine as he does so.
Here at Paul Lanzante's, they've just spent, I don't know how long, restoring this car from 1993, one of Senna's McLaren's MP4 8, famously the one that won at Donington, and then also he won at Monaco. And they've had to restore all the looms, ECUs, all that kind of stuff's been modernised effectively. So they're just working through some gremlins. I'm working quietly because I don't want to annoy them, because they look super focused. A lot of laptops and a lot of different systems that are combining for the first time. So they've run it on a dyno. This is what they call the first live firing, where they put it all back together with active suspension, all of those systems plugged in and kind of talking to each other, hoping that they will combine, meet together, have a nice party, and then make a good sound. So I'm just going to watch and observe and see what it's like, but basically find out what it's like to start an F1 car for the first time.
No stop sign, the speed limit, and nobody's gonna slow me down. Love's a wheel, gonna spin it, and nobody's gonna mess me around.
This is the starting procedure for a McLaren MP4 8. It's all in the booklet. It's actually smaller than a Lego manual, which is quite impressive. So this must be a fairly straightforward exercise. But it's all in here, look. Running procedure. Remove air horn. Didn't know it had one. I think that this is effortlessly simplistic. Quite certain you have to really have the encyclopedic knowledge in your head before you start playing around. And unlike the Lego, if you miss a piece out, the entire thing will blow up. These things don't get detonation, do they?
They don't really. We don't even have detonation sensors on
Okay.
this. Obviously when we do the turbo ones, that's a bit more important.
Right.
But they're so big bore, short stroke and high revving that they don't detonate.
What does this rev to?
What have I got the limiter on? 12.5.
Okay. And full whack is?
They do go a little higher than that, but we've got 12,500.
Okay.
But of course, everyone talks about what they did in the day, but the thing has to last. They're not changing engines every weekend
Yep.
at this level.
This wasn't qualifying engines, was it? This was, you ran an engine for a while.
Yeah, they still had to last a weekend.
Yeah. You've just done a load of checks, but what's the procedure now for firing this up?
So as we stand right now, we've got oil in the car, the water temperature's up, preheated with our external preheater.
Yep.
So we want to get it to about 50 to 70 degrees. So now the next check will be to spin for oil pressure. So we've got the external starter motor in the back. Just a couple of stabs and then some cranking to get the oil pressure built up. We'll get the thumbs up from the laptop chaps. Mm-hmm. Once that's done, we'll then reconnect the injectors and coil looms so that the car is as it would be running away, and then we'll spin it for firing.
And you've heated the oil?
No, the oil is in the engine, and we've got a circulation system for the coolant. So that's self kind of like with the heat soak.
That's enough?
Enough.
Okay. And then once you fired it, presumably you can't run it that long.
No.
Just get it warm and then run it through. What RPM do you take it to?
So these will sit at about 3,000 RPM. That'll be the idle. What we'll do is we'll warm it up to about 85 to 90 degrees. Won't take too long at all because the coolant temperature's already up.
And we're not moving.
And we're not moving. So what we'll do then is we'll shut the car off. We then normally put some air blowers through the side pods as well to keep the water temperature down cool. We'll turn the engine off, keep the coolers going to try and cool the coolant that's left in the radiators. And then we'll do a secondary fire up, which is when we do systems checks. So we would do going through the gears. This car as well, because it's running the active suspension, we do the same thing as well. So you run the car, push the suspension, make sure it's doing all its adjustments that it needs to do. But yeah, you need to be very, very cautious of the temperatures on these because they don't have external fans or anything. So you will have to have external blowers to keep the temperatures low. But yeah.
What's the main? This is what? How many years is it now? It's 30 odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
30 years.
93, yeah.
So what's the main issue with a car that's of that age? You know, obviously, most of this to me looks entirely original. Is everything original?
So for all intents and purposes, the car is completely original in terms of the way it would have left the factory. When the cars came to us, they had no electronics, no gearbox internals, no hydraulics, and the engines were either show engines or didn't have engines at all. So the majority of what you see here with the car is new, but it's as it would have been back in period. The only difference we've made is we're running a modern electronics on this car. The original electronics, very temperamental, very, very basic, and you can't really see the data very well. So to run a modern system on this, we run Motec, which is really user-friendly. You've got all the data. You've got you can have live telemetry, whatever you want, and it's fantastic. So that's the only real difference we will run compared to what it would have been in period is the engine management system.
Because you've got multiple brains around the car. You've got chassis controller.
Yep.
It's like the hub, isn't it? That everything talks to. So engine ECU, active. But so how many ECUs are there?
So there's two. So there is the main engine ECU, which is on the back here. That does everything engine related. And then there's the MCU, which is on the side of the engine, which does everything chassis related. The two of them need to talk to each other because the MCU does the throttle control, the gearbox, and everything else.
Yep.
So there's kind of two brains linked together, but it looks extremely complicated, but when you break it down, it's really not that bad.
Can I ask a dumb question?
Of course you can.
Is this a cable throttle?
So it's got a cable throttle at the front, which operates a potentiometer.
Right.
And then that tells the ECU what to do onto the engine. So it's hydraulically controlled throttle.
Right.
Which means you can have different throttle maps as well. So you'll have the same progression and feel on the pedal,
yes,
but it will do different things on the engine depending on where.
Because that's the hard thing to get right, is the feeling of the throttle. So it's got that. So why can't they do that now with the fly-by-wire stuff? Just have a small wire at the front that you would feel. So it would feel the same. So you don't feel like the sort of like vague feeling with the fly-by-wire, don't you? So what else is the sort of? I suppose the other thing with this car famously is it didn't have traction control, but the rumour was Benetton did.
Benetton did, yeah.
Is that now a known admitted thing? Do they get caught?
I believe so. It's the way in which they did the ECU programming. So back then you would have had like pages of code which would be programmed into your ECU. I think it was something like 20 to 30 pages you were allowed. Benetton ran one for like 150 pages, but they had 100 pages of nothing, blanks, and then at the end, or somewhere in there was one page that...
A sneaky one.
Sneaky one.
And then there's other ways of clearing maps, aren't there? So you might load the map in, and then if you buzz the throttle at such and such revs in such and such gear, it clears it off.
We had a problem with one of these a few years ago where we were running the original system, and unless you had the power to the ECU constantly, it would wipe itself. So maybe other teams were doing that as well, but that was an accident. That wasn't a design fault. That was we had to keep it powered in order for it to keep its memory. Otherwise, you had to keep uploading it every time.
So you've got a lot of refreshed or new bits, but where do you get the software from to run this that obviously McLaren would have had, but many years ago?
Yep.
So where's that coming from?
So luckily, we've got a chap called Dave Bryers who actually designed or built the system back in period. He's been fundamental in terms of bringing these projects back to life. So he's designed a system completely from scratch with the new Motec system, which has only recently just been used into like chassis control side of things. But the usability of the system is fantastic. You can tell it what to do, and it's just so easy to use.
Easy, is it?
Yeah.
But there's 6 of you with laptops.
I know.
So he's rewritten the whole code. So that's the matrix has been broken down onto his laptop.
Yeah.
But he still goes everywhere with these cars when they're firing.
Yeah.
How many of him are there?
There's not too many of them left in the world. No. So he works very closely with McLaren as well. And then you've got the engine side of things as well. So we've got Fraser McKellar here as well, who does the engine side of things. You normally will have like you'll have an engine engineer and you have a chassis engineer. Anything from this kind of era onwards.
Gotcha.
Anything pre this era, you can kind of get away with just a small team of engineers or mechanics. But you kind of want, especially with something as complex as this, with all the hydraulic systems and everything else. I mean, you've seen us this morning, we've been scratching our heads, we've had a few issues with it already today. You need to have the people that know these things like the back of their hand to be able to fault find. You want to be able to kind of go to an event and come away from it and going, well, we didn't need them because it all went fine. But it's the days when it doesn't go fine that you definitely need them.
Is it weird to be this excited about hearing an engine start? Because I love hearing these things fire up. Are you like that? Or?
Oh yeah. I mean, when you invest in all of the hours, months, weekends, arguments with the missus about how many times you've been staying late at work to get these cars finished. You get a real buzz for it. And there's nothing quite like seeing these go out on track the first time. It's nerve-wracking. A lot of people ask me, "Oh, do you want to drive them?" And I'm like, absolutely not. I get a kick out of these going out on track.
Especially this car.
Oh.
Because of what it did back in the day. They're just amazing. They're also beautiful, aren't they?
Oh.
It's like a step change from the era before.
Yes.
I think it's just a stronger looking car, looks really planted. And, and I suppose it did a lot of amazing things that year, but the Donington Craner is just something quite special.
Yeah, and Monaco as well, that year was incredible.
Yeah, with Mansell.
But it was like a great transitional period between like the Adrian Newey design of the Williams and the aerodynamic like change, but the engineering behind all the McLarens through the mid to late 80s and the early 90s was like unquestionable. It was a complete and utter cut above the rest, and that's why they were so successful.
When was the last time this fired up then?
So we haven't actually fired this one up, so this is the first time.
Exciting.
We had an attempt at it a few weeks ago, but as it being a new car, new systems, new everything, we kind of ran out of time. So this is.
But what's that engine done? It's been places.
Brand new.
It's brand new old stock.
Yeah.
As they say on eBay. But you've had to go through everything. I imagine, like looking inside your bore scope. I mean, a whole million pieces.
So the engine has been on the dyno. It's been pre-run. It's been pre-tested.
Right. So it works.
So we know it all works.
Yeah.
It's just our side, of the chassis side, to make sure it all.
How many of those are floating around still that haven't been used?
Because they're used in so many different cars, so like the Benetton, the Group C Jaguars and stuff, they're quite common engine.
Yeah.
But they are engines that are used quite a lot. So there are companies out there that will rebuild them or produce brand new ones like these ones, brand new castings, internals, and everything else.
Mega. How long is it till you push the button?
Oh, hopefully not too long.
Earplugs?
Yes.
All right, earplugs. Except for you, because you're going to be holding a mic out. All right, good luck. I hope she does what you want it to.
Oh, she will.
All right. Cool. Then we put some wheels on it. Have a go.
Yeah.
Where are you going to run this, by the way? Where's the shakedown going to be?
So we tend to run these cars in Pembrey, Wales. It's a good all-round circuit. It's kind of a bit tucked away, so privacy's pretty good.
It's a famous McLaren stronghold, isn't it?
Yeah, McLaren are always down there. It seems to be every 6 or so weeks they're down there with something.
My race engineer was working on Senna's car, and they said the first time they took him there, they sent him out, and as a practical joke, they sent him out to the left, the wrong way round, and he did about a lap and a half and realised what was going on, and just he just said very funny and called them a rude name, did a burnout and turned around. Well, thank you. I just love listening to it. So it's going to be listening to an orchestra. So
it's going to be great.
Fantastic. I've got some easy start in the car. If you want me to get that out, not a thing. Could be. The tractor boys would be straight in there.
A few moments later.
These two coil leads was actually 7 and 6 were the wrong way around.
And what difference does it make? They're not all identical then?
No. So it means that those two are firing in out of sync.
Oh, I see. Though they thought they were.
Yeah.
They thought they were the other guy. Gotcha.
Yep.
I was still struggling. It was sort of 90 bar-ish. It dropped very quickly when the revs dropped. It's almost as if the filter's blocked or something like that.
Yeah. We can pop it out and have a look. $2.5 grand a pop. Hope it's not. We'll have to decide whether we're going to run these cores. Might have to make some other spaces for it. We need a bit more pressure to do shift check, don't we? So we need to figure out what's going on with that.
Away with it, but not, or to find out what the problem is.
Yep. Okay. Well, we'll pop the pop that top off, and we'll have a look from there. There we go. Hey.
What was it?
We're not blaming Gavin, but.
Where is it? But you're happy with that?
Yeah, it's good.
Wasn't the plugs then?
What was in the plugs?
Sorry. What was it? What was it?
I was a number of things.
Very diplomatic answer that.
Can neither confirm nor deny. Lambda's wrong side to side, so we're looking for the wrong bank.
Yeah.
And then some other issues.
67. Swap.
What, the coil?
Yeah. Okay.
No, that sounded good.
A mint.
One of the sweetest sounds you'll ever hear, even though it's a V8, not a V10 or a V12, it still sounds epic at 4,000 revs. Next time, hopefully you can hear that on track at 11,500, and it's going to be a completely different animal. Plus these little dinky exhausts, when they go on, it'll be a slightly crisper sound. That was a bit more raucous with the shorter pipes, but still amazing, and really amazing engine. Super versatile, very docile, very drivable apparently. I've not driven it yet, but I'm trying to blag my way in. Anyway, I've got at least an understanding of how to fire one up if I have to.